there, Meow Mentors. It's Cat Lady Justin. This is the Kitty Boss, where we pick, pamper, and protect your practically perfect pussycat for a lifetime of unconditional love. Welcome to this, our holiday special. Some people are celebrating Christmas. Some people are actually celebrating Hanukkah right now at the moment, and various other holidays. We embrace them all just like we embrace our kitty cats. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to our ever glorious co-host and then our special guest. So give me a second. Here's Dr. Rachel Geller, famous cat behaviorist, cat chaplain, and the president of All Cats All the Time, a charity designed to help low-income folks still have an awesome cat. So, Dr. Rachel, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm well, Justin. Lovely to be here.
Lovely to have you here. So happy holidays to you. And now let's meet our very special guest, totally appropriate for this time of year, because I don't know about you, but some cats don't mind getting a little dressed up. Mine are okay with it. So I've got some great photos of them, their scarves, their little Christmas hats, and all that. So Kathy is a well-known cat photographer. So she does cats specifically with OK Cat Photography. We'll give you the site and a link if you're interested later. But for now, I'd like to meet Kathy and welcome you to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here.
It's awesome because we got lots to talk about today. Because we're in the holiday season now. So there's various holidays going on and off right now. In fact, today in the UK is some minor holiday called Christmas Jumper Day. Jumper is what we call a sweater. So it's Christmas Sweater Day in the UK, which is funny because we have two of them. We have this week, and next will be Ugly Jumper Day, like ugly Christmas Sweater Day. So today is a Christmas Sweater Day, and I posted something online, and then it dawned on me that, you know, a lot of cats, or most cats, like being on things, clothes and costumes. Mine tolerate it. They don't mind. But they don't love it. So it's not like, oh, they're a treat. And so we have to be careful with that. But I thought we'd talk about cat costumes and how to deal with that and what your perspectives are on that, both from a behaviorist with Dr. Rachel, as well as, of course, a photographer, and say, how can we manage that process when we want to take some lovely photos? Because, you know, some of us we'll need some tips on taking photos. And that's really, really awesome. And then, of course, if, you know, anyone needs a professional cat photographer, then we know who to go to for our commercials or our, oh, I see your cats there in the back. You've got your statues, your photos, and then there's a real cat right there behind Dr. Rachel Geller. Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit. And there he is.
There he is.
Perfectly. He's a statue, and then he moves and you're like, that's not a statue, that's a cat. And I saw a tail pop up with Kathy. So like, why don't we start with our guest, Kathy? Oh, yeah,
sure.
So Kathy, why don't we start with you and get your opinion on this issue of cat costumes first and foremost? What do you think about dressing up our cats?
I honestly, I think it's really silly.
Mm-hmm.
It can also be really fun. Now, my youngest daughter, has a cat that she started putting clothes on him shortly after she got him, and that actually kept him calmer than when he was naked. So, you know, it's going to be different for every cat, obviously.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like I said before at the beginning, my cats will tolerate it. So they don't get upset or stressed by it, but they don't love it. They'll sit there, they'll let me take some photos, and you can kind of see in their eyes, you know, where they're rolling their eyes or they're just looking, saying, hurry up. How long do I have to stay here? It's ridiculous. You know, they have that look about them. And so I can tell, you know, they're happy to get the costume, but they let me. They actually know what's happening. They know I want some cutesy photos, and they indulge me, which I'm grateful for. And then I send it off to my local magazine, and they usually publish every month a little photo of my kitty cats. So for me, they tolerate it. So, but some cats despise it. So let me know your opinion on that, Dr. Rachel, and what you think about, you know, cats and costumes. And do you ever put dress ups on your kitties?
So I do not. So one thing with my particular cat is I always adopt the cats who nobody else wants. So I tend to adopt the cats who are ornery, who are the misfits, who need a lot of behavior work, who need a lot of socialization. So typically, my personal cats, I'm not dressing them up in anything. But having said that, as Kathy and you both mentioned, it really depends on your personal cat. Some cats are like, oh, I have a costume on. When's lunch? Like they couldn't care less. Other cats feel very restrained. They feel like they've lost a sense of control and they really, really hate it. So, go look at your particular cat's temperament and take it from there. Because if you have a cat who is very reactive to that texture or that loss of control or that feeling of being constrained, then clearly you don't want to put your cat through that process of putting things on her just for the sake of you getting a cute photograph. Like that just wouldn't be very fair to your cat. But some cats tolerate it just fine. They don't mind at all. And the other thing, and I think Kathy mentioned this, is that, if this is something that you want to do, best to start doing that when the cat is a kitten. Because typically when cats are kittens, that's the time to get them used to anything, whether it's trimming their nails, brushing, taking a photograph, anything like that you want to be able to do. It's easier. Brushing the cat's teeth. These are all easier things to get your cat used to when the cat is very young. So if you do have a kitten and you're thinking, I really want to have those photographs someday, now is the time to start getting your cat used to it.
Yeah. And it's just like people a little bit, isn't it? I mean, first of all, yeah, you get used to it and you get the habits as a child. But then there's some who love dressing up. I mean, it's very popular here where I live in the UK of going, they call it fancy dress. That just means throwing a costume on. It doesn't mean, when I first heard the term, I thought it meant like tuxedo or something. But no, it just means a costume. And people love it here. There are so many costume rental shops that people will go out and students do it a lot. People do it a lot for their party before they get married and stuff. And it's just very popular. I hate it personally. I'm one of those that I feel weird. I don't feel comfortable. I feel this, even if everyone's in a costume, even if I'm at a Halloween party, I don't like being in a costume. The one time I did it is a Halloween, I think 10 years ago or something, where I went as Shaun the Sheep and my friend Stacy went as Little Bo Peep, and it was a cute little pair. But that's pretty much the only time I've done it in recent years. In the last 10 years, I've not thrown on a costume. It's just not my thing. Don't like it.
That's perfect what you're saying, because think about our cats. They're just like us. Some cats dislike it. Some people love being in front of a camera. Some people are camera shy. Some people love putting on costumes and love Halloween. Other people not so much. So just like people, our cats all have different preferences and temperaments. So just take that into consideration.
That's right. That's exactly what I think. We have a quick note from one of our Facebook viewers who's viewing live, who didn't click that button, so I can't see who it is. Merry Catmas and Happy Perna. So thank you, whoever that is. We love that. That's really funny. In fact, my little brother had a holiday card that said Happy Hanukkah.
Yes.
So it was very, very appropriate for that. And I sent a Christmas cat, which was basically like Merry Christmas to the cat. So to him, so I didn't wish him any happy, just the cats, which I thought was kind of funny. We have a hi from our friend, the Cutting Cat Behaviorist. By the way, if you're in the USA and you want some beautiful handmade item gift for your cat or for you, because she does both, the Crocheting Cat Behaviorist, I'm sure, can supply you something amazing that's really, really lovely. It's a little bit pricey if you're over on this side of the pond. Most of my listeners are in the USA, so I wanted to make sure I say that. So hello, it's wonderful to see you. So it's your biggest fan, Dr. Rachel. It's Michael Parrott that made that awesome comment. So thank you, Michael, for joining us. Merry Christmas to you all, and Merry Christmas to everyone listening. And by the way, if you're listening to this and it's after Christmas, or it's after Hanukkah, or it's after New Year's, or whenever you're listening to this, it's really important that you know that what we discuss here is almost always evergreen. Meaning, Halloween, right, is another costume holiday. Yeah. There's lots of it. So what we're about to discuss is relevant, even if this is not the holiday season. You can still listen to this. And even if it's next year, you can still listen to this because you could use these kind of tips. Now, here we go. So we have another comment. Will there ever be a pill to extend the life of cats? Oh, God, I wish. I wish. I always like to say in the Kitty Boss book, which is still not 100% done and published yet, I always like to say, if you do everything from the moment it's born, your cat could potentially live to 30 because it's not unknown. I mean, the longest lived cats have lived longer than 30, the two longest one. They were father and son cat. So it can be done. Now, will it be done? It depends on the breed, and there's lots of other factors in there. But if you do everything perfectly in terms of taking care of its health and protecting it and giving it its well-being emotionally and feeding it the best stuff, potentially it can live to 30. That's certainly my goal with my cats, is to have them live past 30. I would honestly, secretly, I don't want to jinx it, but I would love to break that world record and have my cats live healthily. I don't want to, I don't want some invalid, just like I wouldn't want to be an invalid, but healthy, 33-year-old cat, is kind of the goal I have. And as long as they can live, I mean, as long as they're healthy and happy, I don't want to set a limit to it, but that's sort of the milestone I would love to break and get into the Guinness Book of World Records, but with my cats. That's the thought. Now, as far as a pill, I really don't know. I think first they need a pill for people for that, and then for cats. So maybe, you never know. Okay. Anyway, back to holidays and costumes and photos. Is there anything anyone else wants to say about photos and all that stuff, or sorry, costumes and all that, or shall we move on to the next order of business?
I'm ready. I'm ready when you are. Oh, I see a little
Okay,
kitty.
cool. I see. Let me try zoom out because I see a tail and a back. Hi, who's this on your lap there, Kathy?
This is Marley. She
Hi,
is
Marley.
13 years old, and she came from our local municipal rescue shelter.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, Emily is 13 as well, and all my cats are. None of my cats are like some special breed or anything. I have nothing against breeds; they're cute, but I prefer to give a home to a cat who needs a home.
Yes,
and isn't for sale.
Yes.
But in any case, that's a whole other show we might devote to that. So let's talk a little bit about photographs, because in the holidays we love to take photographs. We like photographs of ourselves. We like photographs with our cats. We like photographs of our cats. And every permutation you can think of, right? I mean, I have
permutation.
Oh, yes. I actually didn't think of that. I'm glad you caught on to that. Thank you. If I look in my phone right now, I have 13,334 photos and videos in that album. I would estimate that at least 10,000 of those are of my cats or of my cats and me. Not less than that. The rest are other stuff. There's some food and some other, some personal development stuff I post and social media plans and all that. But I would say the vast majority of that stuff on my phone is cats. So photography is obviously something very important to most of us in the cat community. Cat pics is one of the first things that trended on Instagram. Instagram was young. Cat videos and all that was, I think, the second thing that was like a huge trend. People love it. They're the cutest animal ever. I like to, pretty much only a sociopath would hate a cat and not find that adorable. I'm half serious about that. It's very, I mean, the genetics, I mean, the evolution of that is designed to milk the out of a human being or any primate, really. I mean, even simians, monkeys, gorillas, even they melt for little kitty cats. So I don't know. I think there's an evolutionary thing that happened there. It's not just me, or it could just be. But in any case, I wanted to talk about photos now. So Kathy, would you like to give us a few tips, 2-3 tips on how we can get better or good photos of our cats? And then 1 or 2 tips on how we can get good photos of our cats with us. Like,
I'll give you that one right away. If you want to get good photos of your cats with you, obviously go to somebody else. I don't know how you get a cat to look over there at your phone while you're holding it, or even a camera on a tripod. I don't know how you do that, unless you're just really good with extension feathers. As for
or you have
regular,
a really smart cat like my Charlotte, who seems to know how to look into the lens and peer into your soul through the camera, like 8 times out of 10. She's really good at
I
that.
love her. I
But
love
that's
her already. I've never met her, and I love her. But yes, for getting your own pictures of your cats, my first few tips are actually clean up. Get Kitty in a clean area with a nice background and as little cat fur on the bed as possible. Well, for us crazy cat people, that may be hard to avoid. But for getting Kitty's attention, toys that you know Kitty likes. I use a lot of times I use feathers on a long wand, and another lure and reward to get them to look at you and to reward them for being where you want them to be. I often use tuna puree. I call it Go-Gurt for cats. It's in the little package you tear off the top.
Yes,
and
I've seen those before. They're quite stinky, aren't they?
Yes, then the stinkier the better seems to be the trick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The stinkier and the oilier and the darker, kind of the opposite of what most humans want, is what
Exactly.
Hey, sidebar real quickly. You know what's funny? There's something in the UK called gentleman's relish. Gentleman's relish, I think, was invented in the Victorian times, so well over 100 years ago. But it's still sold. You can get it at the supermarket and all that. And it sounds like, because I've tried it before, it's not bad, but it sounds a lot like this cat paste we're talking about. It's a paste, and it's very fishy. It's got fish. It's, I think, tuna, sardine mixes, a lot of like different spice. So I wouldn't feed gentleman's relish to cats, by the way. If you're in the UK, just don't do that, because it's got too much pepper and spice in it. But it sounds like a lot like that. You spread it on a cracker, and it supposedly tastes good. It's not bad. But it sounds the same. The same thing. Sorry, Kathy. Back to you.
No, you're absolutely fine. And then I guess my next tip would be cameras. A lot of people say, what's the best camera to use? And the first answer to that is the one that you have with you. The next answer to that is the one that you know how to use the tools. So obviously your phone is going to be a first choice, because that's what we have with us most of the time. But if you have a higher end camera, a DSLR or a mirrorless, take the time to read through your user's manual and learn what all the settings do, and practice a lot. The more you practice, like with anything, the more you practice, the better you will get. So you're likely to get better pictures with a good camera than with your cell phone, unless what you have with you is your cell phone. So
yeah, that sounds great. So guys, if you are thinking about taking some photos with your cats, or you're thinking about, wow, that sounds like a royal pain, because I've heard it before. I can never get a good picture of my cat. That luckily, like I said, my Charlotte seems to be a poser. Like, she loves that. She's like a harlot, she's like, she's a camera, WHORE. Whereas my Emily is a bit more shy. I can get great pictures of her, but I gotta be candid. Camera. So if you want, and I think it's a really great idea to go to okcatphoto.com, because you can hire Kat and she can get the best pictures for your cats. It's OK, like OK, and KAT, because she's Kathy, and photo, PHOTO. I spell it because most people, frankly, will be listening to this and they won't see that I've just popped it up on the screen. So it's OK, KATPHOTO, okcatphoto.com. And she's got social media too, and you can follow her. I think follow each other, so you can find us that way, and then stalk her. And you can get the best photos of your cats. If you just wanted something adequate that you can snap, that's fine. And we've had some today. But if you want the best, like amazing publicity photos, like you see behind, and I see some dogs in there too. Just kidding. I like dogs too.
No, we don't judge here.
I see the doggies and the kitties. then just talk to Kathy. We have a few comments. Can cats be trained to hold cameras, LOL, and take selfies? I think we know the answer to that. That's a good one. They can't hold it because they don't. Most cats don't have an opposable thumb. Some cats have the little extra thumb there, but it's not opposable, so they can't wrap their hand around it. But they can take selfies because when I generally take a photo with my cat, it's generally selfie style. So I can, not every time, but many times, I can get Charlotte or Emily to pose with me. They seem to be good at that or intuitive and know what I'm after. From Michael Parrott. Yeah, I figured that much. I love stinky scotch and cheese. I get it. Yeah. If you can get your hands on Gentleman's Relish, on some little crackers with your stinky scotch and cheese or scotch and stinky cheese, I think frankly, I think you'll enjoy it. I do. So anyway, thank you for sharing those tips, Kathy. That's really, really great. So, Dr. Rachel, have you ever worked with a professional pet photographer with your cats or other cats?
I have not. Even the
No.
I haven't. I should, because like you know, my entire camera roll is filled up with pictures of my cats that are both selfies and just pictures of my cats when they're doing something adorable, which seems to be all the time. So I love the idea of, you know, going to somebody and have them take the picture for you. Of course, you have to have the type of cats who are accepting of strangers and visitors, which I work with many people whose cats, you know, as soon as they hear the doorbell ring, they go and hide under the bed, or they're not so apt to be themselves around people who they don't know. So that's kind of something that some people will have a stumbling block with. But the idea of having somebody take the picture for you to make sure, you know, you're both looking at the camera. But like you, I've taken a lot of selfies where, you know, I've gotten lucky. I mean, sometimes I just sit there and I keep pressing, and then you're going to get one. Chances are when you're looking at the camera. The picture on my book is actually a selfie of me holding my cat. So sometimes you can get a really great picture.
Yeah, I mean, the Kitty Boss, you know, profile photos that we have on social media is a selfie. I stuck Emily on my shoulder and grabbed a selfie with her. That's all.
Yeah.
It was really quite simple. There was no effort, no tricks, nothing. I stuck her on there like a parrot, like, you know, like pirate with a parrot, except that was my Emily. And then I got a photo and I think it's cute. So that particular time worked. There's other photos, for example, that I have of Charlotte. That's on the cover of one of the cat books that I have that you can see. It's pinned up on the top there because I encourage people to get it because it's the psychology behind pet ownership. You know, I talk a lot of, you know, interesting stuff and opinions, but there's also science behind most things that I've taught, the opinions that I've made, not just random preferences. And the psychology of pet ownership goes into detail about that. So anyway, Charlotte, that was a professional photo done of Charlotte. That was not a selfie or a photo that I took. That was such a good photo that I have to give kudos to the photographer there, who's we'll give him a shout out. It's Photohondria, the photographer Damien, and that is rather than spell that for you, it's tough. Find it through my social media or send me a message and I'll definitely give it to you. That was probably the best photo ever of Charlotte. So, but that was done like Kathy was saying, on a professional like camera. Was it DSLR? I don't remember the word for it, but the actual professional like big thick camera was not done on a mobile phone or anything like that. It was a big professional setup and a camera. And like I said, we're lucky with Charlotte. She's a poser. And she loves to just, she'll show off and do a thing and let you snap photos of her. And I believe she knows what's going on. Because otherwise,
even if she doesn't, like, she knows that you're enjoying it and she's getting that positive feedback. I mean, the amazing thing about cats is they pick up on all of our emotions. I mean, we can't smell the happy pheromones or the adrenaline or stress, but cats can. So if we're enjoying it and we're happy with what's going on, they're going to keep doing whatever behavior that is, because they do want to bond with us and they like it when we're happy.
And so that works. Yeah. And Kathy, have you ever run into that? Have you ever run into trouble? Like, I'm assuming you go to people's homes and that you also possibly have a studio that people can bring their pets to. So I'm pretty sure my pets wouldn't love a studio session because they hate going out of the house and the carriers and all that stuff. It's just even so for them that wouldn't work. But in the house. So do you ever run into that where you're like, uh-oh, it's like what Dr. Rachel said, this cat's hiding, and
Yes.
yeah. Have you ever
Yes,
run into that trouble?
frequently, and I do most of my work in my studio, and I actually have a meet and greet appointment first. So human and cat, or I do photograph dogs as well. But human and cat come to the studio. Everybody gets to check the place out. Kitty can walk around. Kitty can hide under the furniture. I can get to all the good hiding places. And I try to let them know this is a good place to be, get them some tuna puree. So when they come back for their session, hopefully they remember this was not horrible. I can relax and be okay. But yes, I need my humans to relax and be calm and not anxious. Don't worry about it. It's going to be chaos. It might be difficult, and that's okay. Expect that from my cats.
Right.
And do you use anything like? Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I was going to say the human needs to remain cool, calm, and collected. Because if we get nervous or we get stressed, we're going to reinforce to our cats, oh, yes, I should be scared. I should be stressed. And it'll make things worse. Yes.
It's like a vet trip, but at least when they go to yours, there's no needles or monitor poking in them.
Exactly.
So it should be a pleasant experience. And then, that's interesting that you have that meet and greet and you come. Do you use anything like Fellaway, like a plug-in to help with the pheromones and to help create that sort of environment?
Yes, I do have Fellaway for the cats and Adaptil for the dogs when they come. I don't know if it makes a difference, but it can't hurt. That's my thinking.
Yeah. And some cats,
no, I agree.
Different. Some cats, that synthetic pheromone tricks them into thinking that they've already scented and marked the deposits everywhere and they've already designated it as a feel-good place for them. So sometimes for some cats, it does help. It does trick them into thinking that, but not every cat. So it's interesting. I'll recommend it to clients, and some clients feel like it's a miracle product. They see this huge difference, and other people don't see that, too much of a change at all. So again, just like people, it's all very individual, but it can't hurt, like you said. So it's definitely worth having.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds great. That sounds great. And have you ever had a like a failure? Have you ever had it where there was just no way to get this animal with this cat to be photographed?
Actually, no, not with cats. I have had a couple of cats in the studio. It didn't work out in the studio, so we scheduled a second session later at their home and had better results. Not great.
Cool.
Kitty has still had an attitude, but I was able to get what I wanted. So.
No, that's great. That's great. So you haven't had a failure yet. It was just there's no photographic this, animal. Yeah. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool. So I'd like to make sure we cover something really important because it's the holidays, and we do talk about it each year, but it's important to reinforce it. And it's not necessarily photography related, but Dr. and Rachel and I go over some of the sort of the tips that we have for the holidays that are important for protecting your pet properly, so that you can have that lifetime of unconditional love. And that includes things like Christmas trees and tinsel, and those poisonous plants we bring into our house for the holidays. Or if you're Jewish right now, you have a menorah or a Hanukkah, and it's got the lighted candles. And we want to be careful with all of these things. We have gifts, we have gift boxes and wrapping. And so let's just spend a few minutes just giving people, because we want happy holidays. And that includes gifts and presents and decorations. We don't want to eliminate them. We also don't want to eliminate our cats. So we need to know that there are some things that are probably best left out. And then there are some things that we can do with caution. So Dr. Rachel, should we talk about a few of those?
Yeah. I mean, the right now it's Hanukkah, and I know for Christmas, a lot of people like to light scented pine candles and things like that as well. So, candles need to be, you should always, when they're lit, you should always be around so you can supervise. They need to be out of reach of your cat. And realize too that you might put it up someplace high, but cats are clever. So they might jump on a chair first and then get up to where the candle is. So never have candles lit when you're not home and you're not supervising, and have them up and out of reach as much as possible. Plants, many plants for the holidays can be toxic for cats. Holly, mistletoe, poinsettias, chrysanthemums, these are all toxic and can cause GI upset in your cat. And realize that even if they don't eat an amount enough that's toxic, or they eat a leaf of a non-toxic plant, these are things that cats' bellies aren't used to digesting, and something can still get lodged in their GI tract, or something can still cause inflammation, and that could be a trip to the emergency room. So keep plants out of reach of your cats as well. And I don't know why antifreeze has a sweet, syrupy smell and taste to it, but it can be enticing to some cats. So if you are someone who lets your cat outside, be sure to clean and check their paws for antifreeze. Just make sure that there is nothing, around that the cat can get into. The same with that ice melt and rock salt. That can be toxic if it gets into a cat's paws and they try to lick it off. So just be aware of kind of winter and cold weather dangers, and holiday things that are fun for us. Same, I think you mentioned the gift wrapping. Don't use the ribbons to play with your cat, because it's another thing that if they ingest, it could be a problem. Make sure you're always using the safe and proper toys that are designed for a cat's play. And of course, the wrapping, the wrapping paper, the ribbons that we used to wrap, the tinsel on the tree. These are all things, they're shiny, they make noise, they're enticing to cats. So again, keep those things safe and out of reach of your cat.
Excellent. Thank you. And I'd like to add to that, to be also a little bit careful of the foods that you have during the holiday times. This goes for every holiday. I mean, Thanksgiving, it goes for Valentine's Day. Chocolate is a big part of most of our holidays. I love chocolate, and I have chocolate and all of that, but just be very careful. Chocolate is toxic to cats and dogs. So we want to be very, very careful with that, with where we leave our food lying around. Our gifts might include, an advent calendar with chocolates in it or whatever. Just be careful, leave those around so that our cats cannot, ingest those things.
Yeah.
Then our meals might have lots of stuff that cats love, like turkey or ham or whatever. And it has Christmas goose is delicious. But we have to be very careful with the spices, because we might be basting or marinating or doing whatever. And so then all of a sudden that meat that's normally healthy for them is now used stuff that's not good for them. So we want to be very, very careful with that. I don't want to make it seem like a cat is this like impossible tyrant that lives in the house, because I know some people joke about loads of videos and memes and stuff. A cat is not. There's also this thing where people are subservient to you. You don't have to. You can totally live your best life. You can totally do things that your cat doesn't like. You certainly do that if you're a parent, and if you're a child, you do that to your parents. That happens. That's okay. What you never do is, abuse, harm, or put your cat into peril or danger. But you don't have to.
Just common sense. Yes.
Just common sense. Have an awesome holiday.
Yeah. It's
exactly. Have an awesome holiday, but be careful.
Yes. Bye.
Yeah, but be careful. And then we have guests. That's the other thing that comes to us for the holidays, or we go as guests. So if we have people come in our home, Dr. Rachel likes to tell us,
yes,
watch the doors, have a safe space for the cat.
Yeah, if people are coming in and out, watch your doors. If you have cats who are shy, don't like strangers, or if you're having a lot of company, you're just not going to be able to keep an eye on your front door. Then just put your cats in a safe space for that time that you're having, your party or your gathering. They'll be fine. Put them in a room with the litter box and their food and water and plenty of toys. You will know that they will be safe. But like Justin said, a lot of it is common sense. I mean, if you had a child, you'd make sure that any lit candles were out of reach. A lot of it is just basic kind of safety and common sense anyway. So I just want to reiterate what he said, that I don't want people to think they need to go crazy. There's just, basic little things for safety that we would probably do anyway. And to your point with the turkey, onions and garlic are something that A lot of cats have problems with too, so we want to be careful. But really, you shouldn't be feeding your cat onions and garlic anyway, right? So it's just keep note of it and just be careful. They will be enticed by the aromas, but we shouldn't have that food on the floor regardless. So I think a few minor tips and keeping basic attention on things, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's the other issue of if you go out, let's say, and you're away from home for a period of time. Let's make sure that we understand that cats are very independent creatures, but they will probably miss you. So you need to do a few things to reassure them, to let them know you're coming back, although they might not remember that. And that it can include, right, plugins, or some people say they'll leave some soothing music. There's an amazing musical track which you can get on iTunes and other places, or just on their website, called Ambiology. It's for both cats and dogs. They have a cat one and a dog one, and it's a frequency and a soothing music designed to soothe and de-stress both humans and the animals. So the dog one works on dogs and the cat one works on cats. The cat one is based on the cat purr frequency, and maybe the dog one too. I don't know, but
really
I don't have a dog.
To help too when you're away is, a few days before you go away, whatever you're wearing, keep a t-shirt on all day long. This sounds a little yucky, but your underwear, your socks. And when you leave, leave those items out on the floor, because your scent will be very reassuring to your cat. So, I'll always leave a sweatshirt or a t-shirt on the floor in my bedroom, and I'll leave some socks around the house, because those items do have your scent on it, and that will be reassuring to your cat. And the idea of the lights on, timers, think of creating signs of life in your home, even though you're not there.
That's good for security too. It says to have the timer. And and if you get yelled at by a mom, dad, parent, a spouse, or whatever, for leaving your dirty undies lying around, just say it's the cat. I did on purpose
for the kitty.
For the cat. The cat has a foot fetish, so I left my socks on the floor so they can feel like I'm home, and just there's your excuse. So in any case, it's a good thing, because they like your smell. We know that. So just leave something with your smell on it, your stench on it, for your cat to feel like you're not too far away. So that's a really important, actually very, very important tip. I did have and then there's a question that comes up every year, which we'll talk about in a minute, and that is how to keep your cats off the Christmas tree. But before we talk about that, Kathy, I wanted to ask you, because I have several friends who have invested in, because they're not cheap, these camera things. These I don't know what to call them. These robotic camera things, so it's like a nanny cam for a baby, but it works, and it works remotely on your iPhone, and so they could be 3 hours away, or they could be in the USA even, or across the ocean. And they can log in and control and see this little camera. They can move it right and left and see, and kind of spy cam on their cats. And so do you have any experience or any advice on those things? Because they're a bit strange to me, but they're cool.
I don't have any experience with those, and I know that people have them, and usually more for their dogs. My daughter has had one for her cat, but I don't know how much success she had with it. And that might be another way to get pictures, though, if you can get a good image and screen grab that.
Pictures or videos, and some people can interact. You can turn on and get audio to go through, and it's kind of cool, creepy and cool at the same time. But you got that. So it was just a thought that came to mind. So thanks, Kathy. So back to what I mentioned earlier, because the question comes up every single year, because I don't know why people just don't get it, but they need to be reminded. They always ask, how can I keep my cat off the Christmas tree? And I'll start us off by saying there is no one solution that fits all, because some people say aluminum foil, and then other people say, well, my cats are absolutely not bothered with aluminum foil. They'll go on it. It doesn't work. My cats are not afraid of it. Some people say there are these cat repellent sprays that are based mildly off of a citrus thing, because cats hate citrus, not to a toxicity level, but it's based enough to put, to repel them. And some people tell me my cats don't mind that. My cats will even play with like a grapefruit or whatever. Okay, so the first thing is there is no one solution that works for every single cat, because cats are very different individual pets. They're VIPs and they're very intelligent as well. Some are not. Some are stupid, but they're very there are varying degrees of intelligence and of course a diversity within the cat population. So there is no one answer for it. Let's talk about a few tips to keep the cat off the tree, or if it's not the healthiest environment for, it's not a cat tree. It might not be so safe or healthy for them. So how can we keep them off?
Right. So there's all your basic deterrents, as you mentioned, and they may or may not work. Cats tend to not like materials that are slick or sticky. So those are things you can put around the tree. Aluminum foil is one idea. There's a product called Sticky Paws. That's basically a cat version of double-sided tape. Sometimes that works, kind of put it around the area of the tree. They're not going to like the feeling of their paws, and so they won't proceed any further. So there's all kinds of deterrents: smells, textures, stickiness, slick things, and so forth. There are also deterrents where if the cat gets too close, there are compressed air cans, and they'll emit a sound that sounds like a cat hissing, so they won't want to go any further. You can also make sure that you have your tree set up in such a way that the ornaments and other enticing things hanging farther up off the ground. Sometimes that helps because the things that they're enticing them aren't like right low to the ground. Mm-hmm. So that's an idea. Some people do things like put shallow trays of water around the tree because cats don't like to get their paws wet. So that's an idea as well. And I always tell people to just make sure your tree is securely anchored, because if the cat does get up on the tree, you don't want the tree to fall down.
Yeah, goes without saying. And you brought up the little air compressed air that makes a hissing noise. That doesn't include an air horn like some people take to stadiums. No. You don't want to give your cat a heart attack, right? So this is it makes it's not an air horn. It's
no, it just it makes a sound that's it.
Like a hissing.
It sounds like a hiss. Yes, and that could be enough.
Yeah, it's not an air horn. And then the other thing is so it's not an air horn. And then I forgot the other thing I was going to say, which I picked up on that is we don't want to spray our cats, because that's something that I also hear a lot is use a spray bottle. Your cat doesn't learn from that. All they learn is to fear you. And it'll spoil your relationship with cat. So never punish it. You don't spank the cat for going in the tree. You can be firm with it. You don't want to scream at it. Of course, occasionally, like if Emily runs under the hedge, I will get very, very loud and scare her, because I'm trying to scare her back into the house. That's different. That's emergency situation. In the house, you really want to avoid anything really like the punishment doesn't work on them.
Yes.
It's rewards do, but punishment doesn't.
Punishments don't work with a cat because cats don't understand the concept of right or wrong the way we do. So when your cat's climbing on the tree, she's not doing it to be bad. She's not doing it because she thinks that it's going to bother you. She's doing it because cats like to climb. Cats like elevation. And so she's doing something as a cat that a cat enjoys. She's not trying to be bad. And so a punishment will not work. In fact, if you use a spray bottle, as you said, not only will you ruin the relationship between you and your cat, but all you're going to accomplish is a wet cat who'll wait for the next time you're not around to try it again. So it's not going to work. The thing about deterrence is you don't need to be present for them to work, and they're not tied to you. So those types of methods that I just offered are much more preferable than trying to punish or yell at your cat.
Yeah. So that's so those are the kind of the two things I wanted to go over to make sure that that's clear. Is none of our tips included any kind of punishment, whether physical or otherwise, of the cat. They're simply deterrents. There's a comment we have. I like to put some cat grass under and near the tree to help distract. See, that's so rewards work. So to reward your cat for not going in the tree by staying on the floor and enjoying the cat grass, that will work for many cats, not all cats, but that'll work a lot better than some kind of punishment for the cat. So thank you. That's actually a really, really good tip. It's not one I've tried. I luckily don't have the issue of them going in the tree. Charlotte used to when she was a kitten, and now she doesn't. Emily will sometimes lie under the tree like a gift because that's what she is, but she doesn't go in the tree. So that's, again, but I'm less lucky with that. I didn't have to train them. The cats to understand. I can tell Charlotte go upstairs. She'll go upstairs, go inside. If we've happened to be out, she'll go inside. She'll like obey commands a little bit like a dog. And I never trained her to do it. I didn't use treats or rewards. She just kind of picked up on it somehow. So that's, I don't know. I've got very intelligent cats, I guess. So that's that. I wanted to go over one last thing, which is to ask Kathy and ask Dr. Rachel if there's anything else you'd like to leave us with for the holidays, for our holiday special. We will not be reconvening until after New Year's. So Dr. Rachel and Kathy, if you guys have any quick tips about the New Year's and fire, I know it's quite a ways away, but our next show is after that. So for anyone listening or watching, fireworks and alcohol, just a few tips on what we should do during this lovely festive time of year for the new year.
I have a quick one for your photographs. It's one of the really popular things that I've seen the last few years is having your cat or your dog with the Christmas lights wrapped up in Christmas lights, and then their pictures taken. And my concern is that, as we know, they all have teeth, and they're going to chew that possibly and electrocute themselves. So I would avoid that if at all possible. I know it's cute, but the risks are too high.
The risks are high, and Christmas lights in your tree the same. If you have a chewer, cat, dog, rabbit, whatever, I would avoid. They're lovely, get it, but put them outside. Don't put them inside. Again, if you have an animal that you can trust, that you know, because they're definitely not a chewer, and you're absolutely confident about that, then with supervision, maybe have them on and then switch them off when you're not there. That'd be kind of my suggestion, but yeah, that's really good to know. Dr. Rach, anything to add to us for sort of the new year?
Yeah, well, in terms of the fireworks, cats are highly reactive to noise, particularly intermittent noise. They find that very stressful. They never know where the next bang is going to come from. Yeah. So if you have a cat who's afraid of fireworks, make sure your doors and windows are secure, because if your cat who's sitting in the window and she becomes reactive or afraid with the noise, you don't want to lose your cat. You don't want to have a cat just run because they're afraid of something and then not find her way home. So windows secured, doors secured. If you really know your cat is super stressed, again, put her in a separate room, pull down the shades, have music playing softly, and try to keep the environment as calm as possible for your cat.
Terrific. Thank you very much. That's brilliant. And if you're having a party at home, a New Year's party, then by all means, remember our tips are pretty much the same as if you're having guests over for a holiday dinner or lunch or whatever. Make sure that your cat has a safe space to retreat to, or to just be locked up in, to make sure that, because let's face it, New Year's normally involves alcohol, and alcohol normally lowers our good judgment. And so that the same goes for your cat. I don't mean your cat. Your cat's not drinking alcohol. They should stay away from that. It's poison. But what I mean is your guests and you might exercise bad judgment towards your cat. You might do something, or they might do something that you wouldn't do if you weren't, with alcohol or, God forbid, drunk. But, let's face it, some people do that. And so let's keep your cat safe and secure, especially when there's alcohol involved, so that our judgment is not impaired and we end up doing something and then regretting it later. There's an accident, God forbid, the cat's injured or worse. So I'd like to just add that bit, but not to make this a doomy, gloomy show. It's a happy show for happy holidays and happy, bright, friendly New Year's. But let's keep our cats safe. Let's protect our pets properly so that we can have a lifetime of unconditional love with them and also enjoy it. So thank you for those little extra tips. I wanted to add that, and I wanted to leave everyone with one last reminder that if now or forever into the future, you would like some professional photographs of your cats or dogs or both, then Kathy can help. Her website is okcatphoto.com. And you can always message us if you need her details, and we can share her details with okcatphoto.com so that you can get some professional level photos of your cat. I think that's always an amazing thing. Kathy, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you because it's a bit pricey to also fly you out across the ocean from where you are in the USA to where I live in the UK, and it's also too expensive for me and to fly my 2 cats and myself out to the USA for a photo shoot. So I haven't done that. So that is the only reason. It's the only reason. And so there you go. So everyone else, if you have actually would make a great Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever gift, wouldn't it? To get a session. Yeah. I bought you a session with Kathy, OK Cat Photographer, for you and your cats. How cool is that? That would make an awesome Christmas gift. There you go. That's the Christmas special. That's our gift to our audience. I'm not paying for sessions for everyone listening. We don't have that kind of budget, but it's recommending and endorsing that and suggesting that. And of course, Kathy, I'm sure will take extra good care of anyone who says they've come because they saw you on the Kitty Boss. They'll get an extra treat or a catnip or something. So
Definitely
there you go.
Let me know.
So
yes.
let her know if you heard about it from here, and if you don't, we'll forgive you. So thank you guys for joining us. It's been a real pleasure to have you on the show, and thank you for your tips, Kathy, and Dr. Rachel. Always, it's amazing to spend time with you. So I think next time we'll see each other will be in early 2024. It'll be the first Friday of January. It'll be our New Year's special, but it'll be post New Year's special. So not hungover, but we'll be, because it'll be well enough after that. But that's when we'll meet together. So I want to wish you all a very happy holiday, as well as an amazing, safe, and prosperous New Year to you, Dr. Rachel, and to you, Kathy. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Happy and healthy, everybody.
Yeah. And I'll see you in a few minutes after we end the show. So thank you for joining us, and I want to wish you a happy and healthy New Year, as well as the very merriest of Christmases, happy Hanukkahs, Kwanzaa, or any other holiday that you might be celebrating. This is Cat Lady Justin, and you're listening to the Kitty Boss, where we pick, pamper, and protect your practical pussy cat for a lifetime of unconditional love.